Evening, men. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. The race for number 10. It's exciting, isn't it? Who'll get to number 10 first? Major? Hurd? Heseltine? My money's on Pickford's. And that was a Friday night and a Saturday morning and a half, 17.5 million for children in need. And at a time when everybody in the country is feeling the pinch. So, thank you again. And we'll keep you posted as the grand total rises, I hope, higher and higher. Now tonight, not for the first, and certainly not the last time, one of the stars who lit up the night and kept the money rolling in on Friday, with what is being freely tipped as his third consecutive Christmas number one, Cliff Richard. And then, oh yes, then, thank you. A bit late for me, but thank you. Then there's the man responsible for such celluloid crowd pleasers as Rabid Grannies, Surf Nazis Must Die, and Fat Goy Goes Nutsoid, and the Toxic Avenger. Can hardly wait to meet Lloyd Kaufman. But first, a man at the center of the most sensational trial of the year, a world boxing champ and part-time fireman, known not only for his boxing skills, but for his articulateness, accused of shooting with intent to kill his former friend and manager. Now, throughout his 10-month period of custody, he constantly protested his innocence. Police, on the other hand, were obviously convinced of his guilt. And on the 7th of November, the jury agreed with the defendant, not guilty, and without a stain on his character. Terry Marsh. It seems like ages since you last joined me here.
Yeah, doesn't time fly when you're having fun?
Yeah. It hasn't been fun for you, though. Those 10 months in custody. Yeah, it must feel like it... Did you feel like it happened yesterday, or does it all seem kind of like...
It virtually did happen yesterday, to be honest with you. Only a couple of weeks ago.
But like a nightmare. Did you ever feel while you were enduring it that it was reality?
No, I thought the whole lot was a joke, to be perfectly honest with you. I never took it serious for the whole time, and I still don't realise the gravity of the charges that were put against us, because I just found it all a charade and a farce.
Well, we sort of felt... I felt that. Your diaries were published in the papers. And it seemed from your diaries, which you did write while you were there, it seemed as if you weren't in touch with reality during that time.
I've often been accused of not being in touch with reality, as a matter of fact. Basically, what it was, mentally, I've always been free. I've always been a free spirit, and despite the incarceration and the sojourn I had to go through, it wasn't a problem for me, because I was going to make use of the 10 months that I spent in there. And I think I've achieved a number of things, not because of prison, but despite it.
Does it leave a mark on you, a permanent mark on you, being in prison, do you think? I mean, you're an intelligent man.
You mean from the interpretation of other people?
Yeah.
Like the mud sticking?
No, I mean that also, which, yes, you could address. But I mean, personally, for your own psyche, your own intelligence, I mean, how you feel about life, does it colour your attitude to life afterwards?
Definitely. At the moment, I would say that I've got, well, I wouldn't call it a chip. I'd call it a King Edward's on my shoulder.
Do you feel bitter?
Very, very, yeah. But from that point of view, you know, there's so many things I want to say, but I don't really think this is the time to say them.
Well, a lot of it is sub judice.
Well, no, not in that sense. I know what you're talking about. We won't talk about that. But just from the anger, the bitterness, resentment that I've got for the situation, that it took them 10 months to decide I was not guilty, something that I told them all along and told them of alibi witnesses as well, but they choose to ignore that.
But
so
in fairness, most people would plead innocent to a charge as grave as that.
Oh, absolutely, but it weren't just pleading innocence. There was, you know, alibi witnesses. I answered the police questions in full. Okay, I must admit I had a good joke with them sometimes because I couldn't take it seriously. But they seemed to have the bit between their teeth. And I would say, wouldn't listen to reason.
Did you remember the initial reaction when you were arrested? You'd gone to America.
Yeah.
You came back to Gatwick.
That's right, yeah.
How
Came
did
back
you
to
think?
Gatwick. Went through the customs, as usual, through the nothing to declare zone. And next thing I know, I was being arrested. I was very bitter about that because at the time I'd been to America and financed, or had arranged a deal to have 3 fights under the promotion of Bob Arum. And I actually come back prematurely to tie up a few loose ends to go back to America to have 3 more fights, 3 more successful fights, which would have culminated in a world title fight. So that is something now that's going to be very, very hard to recapture in view of the fact that I'm now 28 and 54 months, which is very old for a fighter. So then I thought it was a question of now or never, whether I can actually...
Do you still want to fight?
No, I don't want to fight. What I want to do, I want to retire. And the reason, now you may laugh at that, but there's a method in my madness. I retired from boxing because I wanted to, but at the same time it coincided with a doctor diagnosing that I was suffering from epilepsy. So when I did retire, it was confused that I retired because of epilepsy, when in fact, as I said, I'd retired because I wanted to. So I'd like to fight again and achieve the status that I once had as a boxer, so that I can then retire again to show that I walked away from boxing and I was big enough to walk away from boxing and that I don't need it.
We can't talk about that epilepsy thing because that is sub judice.
That's right, yeah.
Right. When you were
It's a crazy world, isn't it?
When you were in jail,
Yeah.
how did the inmates react to you? Were the fellows always trying to pick a fight with you because you were a champ?
No, in fact that's the one reason why I would suggest they never picked a fight with me, because I'm a champ. There must be other people there who are easier targets than myself. So my background, I would say, made it easier for me than a lot of people are in now. But
you learnt Italian while you were there?
See.
Well, I can't ask you anything more deep than that because I haven't got a word of Italian.
Thank God for that. That was a close one, wasn't it? No, I learned it. I enjoyed it, and now I've got to the stage now. I've got to go over there and pick up the lingo a little bit more and become a little bit more fluent.
What about your personal relationships? We must address that. Are you ready for a relationship now with your wife and to go back and settle down again?
All I can say is vedere tutto mia moglie, which is my wife. She will tell you everything. Yeah, well, I've got a family as well as a wife, and we've got back together. It's had its ups and downs. Jackie said a lot of nasty things, and as a result...
because it was a major role in the prosecution's case, wasn't it?
Well, they thought it was a major role, but if they really studied it, there wasn't anything now. I mean, as a result of my dear wife, and it's in the past, I don't want to bring it up, but she was very bitter and very angry towards me for numerous reasons which I would dispute, and hell had no fury like a woman scorned. I mean, to give you an example, I don't know if anyone read the Daily Star a couple of weeks ago, but they even had me down there as a suspected transvestite. So no one seems to mention it. I think everyone's being polite. That's the thing about it. But so, that puts everything, I think, into context.
And you've come together with your wife again, and you're both hoping to make it count now.
We're looking ahead towards the future. We aren't looking towards the past.
That's the important thing, is a positive attitude on your part. And you've obviously maintained that, but what worries me slightly is that when you were enduring what you were enduring, that you had no grasp...
Sorry, enduring or enjoying?
Enduring.
Oh, beg your pardon, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a funny way, you didn't seem to have grasped, as you admit, how serious it was. Did it never occur to you that if you'd been found guilty, you could have gone down for life, couldn't you, at 25 years anyway? Yeah,
well, I think I read the depositions, which is all the witness statements, and it was a premeditated attack. So from that point of view, it can't be described as accidental. And it was a dilemma that I had, because if someone had done it, they can plea bargain and settle for a lesser charge, and thereby get a lesser sentence. But I couldn't do a plea because I hadn't done it, which is an awkward situation. So you get the maximum sentence through pleading not guilty. So it's a dilemma you face, and I've actually known people in prison who have protested their innocence all the way down the line. But when it comes to the end of the day, they've pleaded guilty to a lesser charge, thinking it's better to do 3 years as opposed to doing 10 years.
Well, you wouldn't wear that?
There's no way. I couldn't live with myself if I'd done a thing like that.
Well, the police, of course, seemed convinced of your guilt, didn't they? As I said at the beginning. Because when it was over, they said, well, with the investigation, am I right in thinking they said the investigation is finished now?
Unless other things come up. But I would say that wasn't the police being convinced it was myself. It was the police failing to being able to really pinpoint the person, and basically they're saying, we haven't got a clue.
Have you any clue?
1 or 2 names popped up while I was in prison, I must say, but obviously, if I say, well, 3 names in fact, but obviously 2 of them would be at least wrong. The best one could be right, so that's sub judice as well.
Do you think there's any time when you and Frank Warren, who were friends, can be friends again?
Well, you see, someone shot Frank, it wasn't I. And the people who put me away for 10 months, it wasn't Frank. It was the police, it was the Crown prosecution. So me and Frank have got a little dispute in a libel court. He's actually putting a libel action against me, which I'm going to defend just as ferociously as what he's actually placing it. So there ain't no argument. Apart from putting that aside, there's no argument. It's my arguments with the Crown prosecution. And they're making it a Terry Marsh, Frank Warren thing. I've never ever seen it like that.
Should you, do you think, have sold the diary so quickly, or anything? Wouldn't it have been better to let the dust settle a bit?
Yeah, it would have, possibly, but then from a financial point of view, no. I mean, there was money offered there, and to be perfectly honest, I haven't worked for the last 10 months, but all I got paid was £1.50 a week, and about 8 of them weeks, that was taken off me in regards to fines for so-called disobeying lawful orders. So from that point of view, I've got a family to keep and things, so it was a situation that had to be exploited.
And you're hoping to get back, as you said earlier about signing with Aram, you're hoping to get back into the ring and earn enough money to give yourself a peaceful retirement?
Well, no, I'm hoping to get back into the ring so that I can retire again.
Yeah.
I've spoken to Bob since when he was at Birmingham at the weekend for the Nigel Benn Chris Eubanks fight. There's going to be a fight in America, then there'll be a second fight in Britain. And a third fight, hopefully, will be the world title fight against Hector Camacho.
Well, whatever happens, we wish you peace now.
I'm sure I'm going to get it.
Terry Marsh.
Thank you, Terry.
Terry Marsh. And now, a man whose saintly qualities were epitomised on Friday night's Children in Need when he sacrificed his finer feelings to sing Tulips from Amsterdam with Sue Cook and me. His 106th record is being freely tipped as his third successive Christmas #1. Saviour's Day.